Okay, you guys should be able to hear me. You guys should be able to see me. Yes. How do I sound? I look good. Not actually look good. Just do I look clear? I should say. All right, guys. Very good. Very good. There's always a little bit of a latency from what I'm talking about to what the chat window is always giving me back. So sometimes, if there is a little bit of latency going on there, I'll let you guys know. So sometimes you guys may ask a question, or I may ask a question, and then it may take a little bit of response. But yes, the blue polo, yeah, that's the trademark, man. I'm always wearing a polo shirt, blue shirts most of the time. 99% of the time there. All right, so you guys are all studying for your certification exam. Hopefully that process is going on very well. Some of you guys may have, or I should say, using my class right now. Hopefully you guys are enjoying my class, whether it's a TIA here, whether it's on Udemy or wherever you're studying from. Submitted the application. That's one of the things I tell people to get it. Just you got to do that. You got to get it out the way. You got to study, yes, but you got to get that application out of the way. So congratulations to Cam for submitting that application. That application is a real pain in the behind to submit, and if you got it done, congratulations to that. Melissa, March 27. I'm assuming that's your exam date. So that's good. If you got your exam, you guys should go and schedule your exam on there. Somebody said they have no audio. If one person can hear me, then everyone should be able to hear me. Then you have to check your audio on your side. Yeah, if you can't hear me, you got to check your audio, guys. February 23rd, man, you're right around the corner. You're just in a few days from now, next week sometime. For Y Marshall, you're probably starting to get jitters. I should say exam anxiety starts to kick in. Generally, a few days before the exam, but that's how this exam works. You want to make sure our applications are all done. Could you please share us on the exam report for 2021? I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what that means. Share the exam report. The exam report is a lot of people are passing it more than ever. The majority people that I know that I've spoken to have passed this exam pretty easy. A lot of people are saying it's not that hard anymore. If you have my older books, I have another one here from Cam. I have your PMP exam dated 2018. Do I need to order the new one? Not necessarily, but you need to learn a lot of Agile. So what I did from the 2018 book from my older study guide was I added in a lot of Agile concepts throughout it. It's a whole chapter on Agile now versus just a few pages in the first book. And more Agile questions. This exam is very Agile oriented. So you want to make sure that you really study that. You want to make sure that you really add Agile to your studying. One thing you could do is study the Agile practice guide. If you're a member of PMI, if you got your exam going, you could just download that from PMI. It's a free book if you have a membership. Practice exams. I have another question here. Gave it two practice exam on Udemy, got 68 and 70%. It depends on the exams, 68 and 70%. I would hope that you could get a higher score, like 80%. Would be a good score to get on any practice exam. Uh, for Amit there that asked me a question. Gregory says, I passed my exam last Saturday. Thanks for your tip. Hey, that's what I'm here for, an ultra. Congratulations for Gregory on passing your exam. Make sure you celebrate well. Welcome to the club, by the way. Hopefully, you guys can all join the club and all pass your exam also. All right. Sylvia says, Sylvia's exam report template. I'm not sure what that is. Or it would be like people's. Sylvia's asking me a question here about an exam report template. I'm not sure what that is. I've never heard of that before. You're asking me what it looks like when you finish the exam? Is that what you're asking me? Like when the exam is done, how are they going to score it? Is that what you're asking me? Because that's how they score it. When the exam is done, they're going to give you a score report that has the 3 domains: the people, the process, the business environment domain. And then you're going to have a scale of whether you're above target, you're below target, or you need improvement, or the 4 scores you can get. Needs improvement is the worst one. Then you have below target, and then you have target, which is the one you want to get, and above target is even better. So I think that's what you're asking me there. Sona says, hi Andrew, I've signed up for the PMP exam prep project management certification Udemy by different instructors. Should I be okay? Yeah, of course. I mean, if you like the instructor is good, of course. Should I be okay preparing for the exam? I don't want to say anything about any other instructor, but if they're covering the PMBOK, if they're covering the Agile Practice Guide, if they have the mindset, because that's going to be important. You got to get that exam mindset. Then it's fine, right? It's all good. No worries. Okay, another person says, I'm really worried as I have always been a teacher and now I have planned to take a U-turn. Well, if you've always been a teacher, studying for PMP is not that difficult. You'll be all right. How far out exam dates right now? You can, that's a good question. How far out are exam dates right now? I'm not too sure. Fritz is asking me this. I'm not too sure about that right now. I think when you go online to Pearson VUE and you pay for your exam and you want to schedule your exam, I think they have dates you can select, maybe a few more months out. But I think it's more than good enough. Most people study for this exam, maybe a month or 2, the maximum. So how far out? A month or 2 is probably good enough. What are the best simulators? Cam is asking me a question. What are the best simulators or practice exam in addition to using your book? You know what? Just get any practice exam that is out there. I don't think you need to spend a lot of money on practice exam. The practice exam in my books, the practice exam that you can get some Udemy practice exam, it's fine. I don't think you need much more than that. Some people are spend a lot of money on really expensive practice. I don't think you need it. But if you want more, there's a lot of, I can't give you names. I'm sorry, guys. I can't. I'm not affiliated with any other vendor. I don't want to mention a vendor because if I mention a vendor, others may get upset with me or they may not like what I'm saying. So unfortunately, I can't mention anyone because I'm a provider myself, right? We're all competitors, I should say. So I can't really say something about someone else. Hopefully you guys understand that. Caesar says, do you think the exam will ask questions on the process group, such as the question on which process group the project is in or what should we do next? Yes, you should know your 49 processes. Your exam still is based on the PMBOK 6th edition with the 49 processes. So yes. 7 No Joke is a interesting username there. Hi, Andrew. Do you think we should memorize? No. Something I mentioned. This is something that I have mentioned previously. You do not need to go and memorize ITTOs, right? Don't waste your time with that. Don't go waste your time with, don't memorize ITTOs. You need to understand ITTOs, not memorize them. One person says, how can I improve when I've only scored 31%? You need to do a lot of studying. 31% is a really bad score. Just put it bluntly. Somebody is asking me a question here. You need to study more. You need to understand your processes. I think there's some kind of lack of understanding there. Is the new version of the test less difficult? Yes. For Julie, questions, is the new version of the test less difficult? I did a video on that. You guys can check it out here on YouTube. I think that the new exam is more easier than the older exam. Now, there's a few reasons for that. Number one, there's less to memorize. This exam removed a lot of the hard memorization of ITTO memorization that people had to memorize. This exam is foundationally based in Agile. I've had a lot of people tell me that the exam is very Agile oriented. And if you understand the Agile mindset, if you understand the concept of servant leadership, I did a video on that last week. If you understand those, then answering the question is not that difficult. So I think this exam is a lot easier. Are the PMI mock tests enough to practice with? The PMI mock exams, sure. I mean, just get as many practice questions as you could on there. All right. Manny says, if I have to plan for the 2021 49 processes with its whole flow and agile based efficient, or should I worry about the new 35 tasks in detail? You should worry, I would say, know them all, right? Because you need to know your 49 processes. You need to know how they flow. You need to understand them. You need to be very versed in Agile. I don't think you need to be an Agile master, but you do need to know the terms. You do need to know the process. You do need to know the few different methodology like Kanban, Scrum, are famous ones that they're going to look at. And then you should review the 35 tasks, the ECO 35 tasks that you find in their exam guide. And if you have my material, I do cover that in the book. If not in my videos, you could find it there. It's in the course, also the live classes. So you should review that 35 detail to get a good understanding of what they're going to ask you in there. Okay, guys. Does anybody else has any questions? Wesley, that's a good question. What type of graph will we need to know and how to interpret that? So this particular question has been posed to me a few times, and I'm not too sure the answer yet. From what I've gathered from people that have taken the exam, people are telling me it's basically graphs of like a burn down chart and a burn up chart. There were graphs on the spend rate of a project. Those are the only ones that I know about so far, but there may be more. I think that you should be familiar with all the different graphs. I can imagine questions that's going to be on, if you're studying like in quality management, you have your fishbone diagram. They may give you graphs on the rule of 7, the control chart. Can I review your application? Generally, I don't, because a lot of people have personal information on those things. I prefer not to. Manny, I purchased the book. It's good. Okay, thank you. It's good. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the book. Do you provide or have any PMP crash courses? For my classes, you can either take our live classes at tiaedu.com, or you can purchase my study guide, which comes with a 35-hour class at Amazon, right? Or if you want this, I did the Udemy course also. All right. Does anybody have any other questions? If not, we'll do some practice questions. I'll take a few more questions. Okay, looks like you guys are good. All right, let's do some practice questions. So tonight, it depends on where you are, right? Could be morning for you. Let's do 10 practice questions that I have set up here with you guys. We're going to be going over it in there. All right, before we get into that, I got a few more questions. Let's see what we got here. Priyanka says, have you heard about the differences basement? Have you heard about the differences, I don't know, between the old and new exam? Is that what you're asking me? Is that differences between the old and new exam? I'm not sure what they're asking me. What's the difference between the old and new exam? The new exam is a lot of agile orientation. You must study agile in depth. Know your agile practice, know your agile mindset. Sana says, I've received the exam prep special offered, and then for one last year, covers the people. How do you map it to your process chart? You don't. The exam domains, people, process, and business environment, doesn't really map to the 49 processes. The 49 processes in PMBOK, the 49 processes in PMBOK just goes through things a project will do. The domains are particular things about projects. They're different things, right? They're all related to projects, yes, but they're different. There's no really related. PMI never really does that. They never really say that, hey, this one is going to relate to these processes. But if you go through the 35 objectives that PMI listed when they created these three domains, you notice there's some of them that relates directly to scope, some of them that relates directly to cost. The whole first one, like people, could be related more to like stakeholders and communication and HR. So they don't map directly back. You just need to review your PMBOK, review your Agile Practice Guide, review that document, just go through the 35 tasks in there. Question, how can a teacher prove her hours for project management? I'm not sure what that means. How do you prove your hours? When you take a course, you get a certificate, right? All the courses we provide, and I'm sure all providers also, all the courses that we provide always has a certificate associated with it. So you just have to get that certificate. What are some tips on submitting 60 PDUs? What are some tips? There are a lot of, Kathy is asking me, what are some tips on submitting 60 PDUs if I'm not a project manager and my company doesn't pay for education? If you're already certified, Kathy, and you got to get your 60 PDUs, there's a lot of free things you can get, a lot of free services that are out there, a lot of companies that gives away these PDUs for free. A lot of them you may have to attend some kind of course or some kind of podcast or some kind of session, and they give you PDUs for it. Also, if you're a member of PMI, you're going to get access to, I think it's projectmanager.com, that has a bunch of free courses there also, that if you're a member of PMI, you can access those and get your PDUs that way. Getting the 60 PDUs is not difficult. Okay, Ramesh says, Ramesh, if you have my simplified guide and you're using the e-learning course, is it okay to complete the e-learning course? And of course, what's in the e-learning course is, of course, much more what in the guide, right? When I wrote the book, I couldn't fit an e-learning class in a book. The book would be like 1 billion pages. So yeah, that's fine. You know what you should do, Ramesh, is if you're using the book, you're using the e-learning course that comes with it, make sure to do the questions in the book. The book has a lot of questions in there, different than what's in the e-learning course. All right, so you want to make sure you do that. But you should go through, that section at the end of the book where I talk about the mindset. All that's important. How extensively should I memorize and understand formulas? So tonight I do have DJ. DJ's asking me how extensively should I memorize and understand formulas? So tonight we're going to be doing, I got a formula question. You need to know your EVM formulas because people on the current exam are getting questions where they just have to interpret the result. And a lot of people are telling me the ones that you do get, they calculate them in the head. So yes, you do need to know your formulas. Just know your basic EVM formulas: EV, PV, C, what do you call it? AC, CV, CPI, SV, SPI, EAC, and so on. I think just know your basic EVM formulas. Don't go in depth. Don't go crazy on them. I know there's a bunch of them, but just the basic EVM formulas, I think you're going to be fine. All right, another question here. I know the answer to the question is the more the better. But once we listen to the Udemy course and go through the mock exam, how many mock exams? How many mock exams you should be doing? Do at least 3 or 4 mock exams. The more the better. If you finish my Udemy course, I do have a question course. You can check that out. Or anybody question course, you can check that out. But of course, you want to make sure you do a couple of mock exams, right? Not just one. And if you're doing mock exams, make sure that the exam provider has told you that it's updated for the 2021 exam. Because you want to make sure you get those agile questions in there. That's what you should look for. Do you have any more mock exams? You know, we give a lot more mock exams in our live class because it comes with all the PMI courseware and the PMI cloned questions. But those PMI doesn't allow us to give out until people purchase that live class. If you have the live class, you'll get the clone questions, which is the real PMP questions. But it comes from all providers. All providers that are authorized, that teaches this particular course, will give you these clone questions. All right. Any other questions, guys? All right. Hopefully, I've answered a bunch of you guys' questions. Guys, let's do 10 questions here. Let's do 10 questions. We're going to go through them. We're going to talk about the mindset. We're going to see, okay, I'm going to give you guys some exam tips on how you should be answering these particular questions. So let's go and take a look. Okay, so here I am we're going to be doing some practice exams here. And we're gonna see, you know, what exactly is the best way of getting these exams done. Okay, guys, let's do some practice question. Let's take a look at question number 1. Okay, so question number 1. So what we're gonna go through these questions. I'm gonna read them out loud. You guys can read them with me. Then you're gonna put the answer in the box. Then we're gonna take a look at the answer, and I'll give you guys an explanation of why that answer is that answer. So let's go through this. A customer has concerns about the technical approach to be taken for a product. These concerns came out during a regular project review. How should the project manager handle the situation? Immediately implement the changes recommended by the customer. Utilize the expertise of your team to determine the appropriate course of action and approach the stakeholder for validation. Discuss with the stakeholders to determine the best approach and then inform the team of your decision. And set up benchmark tests to show to sponsors for buy-in. Can you guys see the question? Somebody said it's not clear. Can you guys see the question? Okay, a lot of people could see it. Maybe you guys make your screen a little bit bigger. Would be good. Okay, somebody says on mobile it's not clear. Uh, hmm. I'm not too sure what YouTube is doing there. So you say YouTube is having some issues. I don't know. Am I clear though, or is it just when I flip the camera? Uh, Didn't have this problem last time we were doing this. So I see that. So if you're having some issues, because it looked fine on my phone, yeah. So I think what you guys need to do is on the settings on your YouTube there, you got to switch it to 720 or 1080 because it's outputting at a 1080 display, or set it to at least 720 and it'll be clear again. All right. By default, it's 144. That is correct. All right, very good. Okay, so we have solved the problem. Okay, let's go ahead and answer this question. I want you guys put your answer in the box. What answer do you guys have? Put your answer in the box. What answer do you guys have? Okay, we got some B's. Okay, most of everyone seems to have the answer there is B, and the answer here is B. So why is the answer B? Well, let's analyze the question. A project manager has concern. So there's a couple of things here. There's a concern, right? And one of the things you're going to want to remember for, and this is something I did in my when we did this session 2 weeks ago, is I keep telling people anytime you see the word concern, or it's a rumor or something you overheard, you're not going to want to take action on it. You're going to want to do some validation. You're going to want to do some research and analysis on it. So customer concerns about the technical approach. These concerns came out during a regular review of the project. How should a project manager handle it? So they have some kind of concern about a technical approach. Immediately implement changes? No. The customer has some kind of concern. You're not going to go out and just immediately implement changes. We know B is the answer. Utilize the expertise of your team to determine the appropriate course of action and approach to stakeholder validation. Why is this an answer? You see, because it's a technical approach. It's the only good answer here. You see, if you went with the others, such as discuss with the stakeholders to determine the best approach, this would not be a good answer. Discuss with the stakeholders and then inform the team of your decision. I don't think that's a good answer because the best person to talk to, or the best set of people to talk to when it comes to technical stuff, is going to be the team themselves. Set up a benchmark test to show response for buy-up. That doesn't even make sense here. Okay, good question. Well, everybody pretty much got it right. Let's take a look at question number 2. Let's take a look at question number 2. The project charter has been completed and the project sponsor has signed on to your new project. Unfortunately, due to new compliance requirements, the baseline business case for the project is being impacted. How should the project manager handle the situation? Determine the requirement and possible negative outcomes and give the sponsor a suggestion. Assess the requirement by making a quality management plan. Don't address the issue. The new requirement is beyond the project scope. Request guidance from key stakeholders. What answer did you guys get? Okay, what answer did you guys come up with? My face is covering. I gotta remove my face from these videos. Yes, you know what? Let me cover the. let me go on to the lower left side there. Okay, and the answer on this particular question, the answer to this particular question is going to be okay. I see a lot of people on this question. I need to move myself. There you go. Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good one. I need to. Yes, I'll keep it there. Okay, what you guys got? Let's take a look here at the explanation. So the explanation is, I noticed that a lot of you guys selected the answer B, but I'm not too sure. Let's go through it. Let's see what happened. Okay, so it says here the project charter has been completed and the sponsor has signed on to your new project. So we know the project is approved at this point. Unfortunately, due to new compliance requirements, the baseline business case for the project. So something is happening, the baseline business case. So new compliance requirements. How should the project manager handle this situation? So in this particular one, there's some kind of new compliance that's about to affect the business case of why this may have affected the project or could have a drastic impact on the project. We're not too sure what it is, but we know it's something that's going to have a drastic impact on the project. It goes on to say, determine the requirement and a possible negative outcome, then give the sponsor a suggestion. Yes, that would be the best thing to do, because what you're doing in this scenario is you're analyzing, okay, how does this thing really affect the project, which is something you should be doing as a project manager. Assess the requirement by making it. I'm not sure what a quality management plan has to do with a compliance requirement. A quality management plan will not have the quality requirements. So if you remember, a quality management plan dictates how the project will meet its quality requirements. The quality requirements is not in a quality management plan. In fact, the benchmarks of what you're going to use to measure the project quality is generally stored in the quality metrics, or the quality matrix. Is stored in the actual other documents of quality, right? The quality metrics and so on. Don't address the issue. That's never an answer. You should never ever select an answer on the exam that says don't address a particular issue. That's never a good choice or a good answer. Never do that. You should always address your issue. Never let things slide. Request guidance from key stakeholders. This may sound like a good answer, but this is your project. You should take a head-on approach to it. Okay, let's take a look at practice question number 3. Okay, here. Okay, what do we got here? Okay, very good. Question 1 is blurry. I think you joined the feed a little bit late there. I think that guy is a little bit late on the feed there, maybe rewinding it. Okay, let's take a look at question number 3. There was a miscommunication to the project team regarding required functionality. Due to this, a key functionality has not yet been developed. During this iteration, and a business representative mentions the deficiency. How should the project manager handle the situation? Begin change management now that the functionality has been formally approved. Escalate the issue to the project sponsor. Plan a meeting to collaborate and brainstorm the functionality with the project team and business representative. Postpone dealing with the issue until the testing phase in order to avoid slowing the current sprint. What answer do you guys have? Okay, what answer do you guys have? Okay, seems like everyone is getting this one correct. Everyone seems to have selected C. Let's go through the question. Some tips here. Miscommunication is one of the things you got to read here. There's a miscommunication regarding functionality due to it has not been developed. So we can say this functionality wasn't done because there was a miscommunication. How are we going to fix this? Well, the way to fix miscommunication is by improving your communication. And you have to look for a choice that does that, right? How do you fix the deficiency of not communicating? Is to communicate. Begin the change management now that the functionality has been formally approved. It doesn't say the functionality was ever approved. It says miscommunication regarding this, but we're not sure if it was ever approved. That I wouldn't go with that. Escalate the issue to the sponsor. You should deal with your issue, not give it away to other people. The only time the issue should ever go to a sponsor is if it goes through a change management process. So C is the correct answer. Plan a meeting to collaborate and brainstorm functionality with a project team and business representative. This will be the best thing you can do, because now you're going to combine, you're going to come together and communicate and talk. Postpone dealing with the issue. Anytime you see that word postpone, don't select that. It'll probably never be the answer. As a good project manager, you don't postpone things, you don't push things off, and you don't ignore things. Those are key words you're going to look for in your exam, and you're going to say, okay, that choice I'm never going to do. Functionality, the actual explanation functionality is lacking. Therefore, the project manager must encourage creating a common understanding, power in the team. All right. Next question. Question number 4. During an iteration review meeting, a certain key stakeholder complains about a primary feature of your project. What should the project manager do first to handle the situation? A. Collaborate with the team to find a solution. B. Determine the root cause of the issue and address it. C. Make pros and cons lists to help understand the impact of this problem. Use a neutral third party to mediate a stakeholder negotiation. All right, what answer did you guys get? Okay, the answer here, some people say A, some people say B. I do have one particular, somebody's asking me a question that says, let's see here, somebody says to me, do you think our answer options are easier to discard compared to the actual? So compared to the actual exam. So these questions here are, we took the clone questions that we got from PMI, we used them as inspiration, and we created these questions. So these questions are very similar to what you'll see on your exam. You notice they're not process oriented. They're not going to actually input of this, the output of this. Although you will have some of those, but not a lot. But this particular one I thought was pretty easy. But some of you guys, we got a fight going on here, guys, between A and B, and let's see what the answer is. Okay, the answer here is going to be B. Now it says here, during an iteration review, a key stakeholder complains about a primary feature of your project. What should the project manager do? I like this word because you see this word complaint? The guy's complaining about something. Collaborate with the team to find a solution. If somebody's complaining about something, the first thing you want to do is you got to find out what's the issue about. You just can't go to the team and say, well, let's find a solution about that particular problem. You got to go out there and you got to say to yourself, okay, why is he complaining? Why is she complaining? What's their issue with this particular project? Find the root cause of it. When you find the root cause of it, then you should come up with a solution. You can't come up with a solution if you don't know what's causing it. Making B the best answer here. C and D just doesn't make sense. Okay, guys, very good. Let's take a look at another question. Question number 5. A project manager is facing pressure to deliver results much more quickly than planned. However, a team member expressed doubts that the company has the technical resources necessary to meet this new timeline. How should the project manager handle the situation? A. Inform the project sponsor that a problem with a technical resource may represent project risks. B. Verify that upper management is aware of the problem and its associated risks. C. Find out about the availability of technical resource from the technical resource manager. And D. Outsource any needed technical resource. Okay, what answer did you guys get? What answer did you guys have? All right, it seems like everyone here pretty much got this one. You guys are getting smarter. This is good. You guys are going to ace this exam. So let's go through this question. So he's facing some kind of pressure. Got to get it done quickly. Every project is going to be like that. There's doubt. So this team member has some kind of doubts that the company has the right resource. So what are you going to do? Somebody has doubts that you can meet the timeline. How should the project manager handle the situation? Inform the sponsor of the problem that may represent a project risk. I don't think you're going to go and inform the project sponsor of anything unless you do analysis. Don't approach the sponsor until you have done a lot of assessment like that. Remember this tip for your exam. When you go to your sponsor, you shouldn't just give them information. You should give them good assessed information that you've done research on. Just don't go say, oh, we have a problem and be a risk. The sponsor is going to say, hey, what are you going to do about it? You're not going to have an answer. Verify the upper management is aware of the problem. No. Once again, it's going to be the same thing like A. You're going to go and tell upper management. You do not approach upper management on this exam unless you have done a lot of assessment, just like the sponsor. You can't go to a CEO of the business and say, I got a problem, I got a risk on my project, and you're not sure how to fix it, all right? Or you're just alerting them. That's not the way this works. Find out about the availability of technical resource. This is good. Now you're starting to fix and approach and find a solution to this particular situation. Outsource any needed technical resources. I don't know why you would go with that. The question really doesn't say whether we should outsource anything. Okay, guys, very good. Almost all of you guys got that one. Let's go to question number 6. After receiving complaints from a project sponsor about a delay, the project manager replies that lack of knowledge on a specific skill was the cause of the delay. What is the best way for the project manager to avoid a situation like this? Enact training sessions at the beginning of the project so all required skills are learned. Discuss with the project sponsor to include training on specific skills that the team lacks. Encourage the team members to solve problems using the skills they do have. Determine the project's required skills, then allocate project resources based on those skills. Okay, guys, what answer do you guys have? What answer do you guys have here? We got some A's, D's, we got some B's. Yeah, we're all over the place here. It's a good question. So one of the things we talked about in the course, I mentioned the book also. You got to get your team. You got to get your team trained, right? One of the things as a project manager we have to do is ensure that the team has a required skill to complete the particular work. You really shouldn't execute that project if you feel that your team is deficient or if you feel that they just don't have the skill. So the best way to solve this, the best way to avoid the situation like this is to determine the project's required skill and then allocate the project resources based on those skills. That would be the best thing here we can do. Let's go through why the others are not good answers. Enact a training session at the beginning so all required skills are learned. But that means you would have to put it into the beginning of the project. B, discuss with the sponsor to include training on specific skills that the team lacks. I'm not sure why you would discuss that with the sponsor. This could become a project requirement, but there's no need to discuss it with the sponsor. Encourage the team. C just doesn't make sense here. Nobody got C, and that's a good one. Okay, let's take a look, guys, at question number 7. By the way, you always want to make sure, if your quick exam tip on this exam, make sure your team is trained. Make sure that you allocate the right resources. Make sure they have the right skills to do the job. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a couple minutes to do this one because this one is going to take a little longer. This is a formula-based one. Let's see if you guys remember your formulas. Instead of being 90% complete, your project is behind at only 65% complete. The total budget of your project is $120,000 and the actual cost is $80,000. What is the SPI and the CPI of this project? Let's see if you guys take out your pen and paper, your calculators. I'm gonna give you guys a few moments, I should say, to answer this particular question. Okay, somebody says initial level, you need to determine the required skill, and then we need to plan for the training session. That is correct. You should know your required skill. Maybe then you can add training. That sounds good. Okay, let me know what the answer is when you're done. Go through your paper, try to calculate, see if you can remember those formulas. If you watch the videos, in my course or book, or I have a. By the way, if you're not sure of this, if you check my YouTube channel, check on the channel here, you'll notice that I have a whole free EVM class that you can take a look at, and I go through with you how to memorize those EVM formulas. So when this session is over, you guys can go check those videos out. If you have not memorized your EVM, go check out my EVM videos. I have a whole free course there on it. If you have the e-learning classes, they're already in there. It's the same videos. If not, just check them out here on the channel. Okay, so we have somebody there with an A. Another A. Giving a lot of A's now, guys. We're getting a lot of A's. Okay, guys, couple more seconds. Then we have to take a look at the answer. Then I'll show you how I calculated it. Okay, and the answer here, hopefully you guys got this. The answer here is A. So let's go ahead and calculate all the numbers that we need to find out for our test. So the first thing up is EV. So EV, if you remember the actual formula, earned value is equal to the planned percent, I'm sorry, to the actual percent complete times the budget. So right now we have finished 65% times the budget, which is 120, is $78,000. So the EV is 78,000. PV is the planned percent times the budget itself. So that's 90% times 1,200. That's 108. AC is a given number. It's 80,000. So if you have EV, PV, and AC, you can basically calculate the SPI and the CPI pretty easily. So the CPI is EV divided by AC, which is 78,000 divided by 80, which is 0.98. It's like 0.97 something something. And then the SPI is EV divided by PV, so we got 78,000 divided by 108.72, making the answer A. Okay, hopefully you guys were able to get your formulas. Somebody had asked me earlier, are we going to need to know our formulas? And as you can see, yes, you do need to know your formulas, but not a lot, not anymore. You're not getting a lot of questions. You're going to get some, not a lot of questions, formula questions on your test, maybe 1 or 2 questions. In the last session, somebody had asked me about a fill in the blank. Here's what a fill in the blank would look like. The change control board just to approve a change request to modify one of the major deliverables. The project manager then implements the change in the blank process. In what process do we implement changes? In what process do we implement changes? In what process do we implement a change? Okay, guys, let me see what answer. Amit, you remember the formulas if you watch the videos. Hopefully, you guys memorize those formulas. Very good. Implement changes. What process are we going to implement a change in? And the answer here is going to be D. Direct and manage project work is where you implement changes. If you remember, direct and manage project work is the integration task of executing. Executing is where you do work. So if work is approved, the next thing to do is to actually get the work done by giving it back to the execution process of all the execution process, and direct and managed project work represents them all. Actually, and if you know your ITTOs, direct and managed project work, one of the inputs, I should say, is the approved changes. So if a change is approved, the input, it actually inputs into that process. Okay, that was that was the end of this, but I'm not done. I told you guys I have 10 questions. We just did 8 of them, but I do have 2 drag and drops that we're going to do. So let's take a look at the drag and drop. So in this drag and drop, we are going to put this in order. So let's go ahead and put this in order. I'll give you guys a second. You're going to, well, obviously you guys can't drag it, but you can write it down. When it comes from the most effective communication to the least effective, what order are we going to put this in? From most effective to the least effective, what are we going to put this in, right? So this is going to, if you study Agile, there's a diagram in the book on this. There's a diagram in the Agile video on this. When it comes to the best way to communicate, we should say what's more effective in doing this. All right. And hopefully you guys got this. I think this is pretty easy for you guys. I think the next one is also pretty easy. When I made these, I was like, yeah, these guys are going to get this. I need to make this a little bit harder. All right, so let's go. So definitely the best form to communicate is face-to-face is the best way to communicate. The next way is a phone. So why? Because we can still talk to each other. Now, some people say, well, what comes next? Is it paper or is it an email? No, the good thing about email is that email, you can actually go back and forth. Paper, there's no real back and forth. It's just paper, it's just something on a desk, making it maybe one of the least effective ways to communicate. Okay, pretty easy one. I see all of you guys got this one pretty easily. Now, here's one that they're probably going to ask you on your exam. It's a real drag and drop because the next one is so famous that it's been on everybody's PMP exam, not just as a drag and drop, but actual questions since the beginning of time. I think it was on my PMP exam 100 years ago. And that is Tuckman's 5 stages. Let's put these in order. Let's go ahead and put the Tuckman 5 stages in order. Let's see if you guys remember this. Come on, I covered this in the video. If you watch the video course, I covered this twice actually. Once in the traditional project section of PMBOK, once in the Agile section. So hopefully you guys got this. Okay, what answer did you guys get? All right, I think you guys are acing this stuff. All right, let's go ahead and put this in order. So Tuckman talks about team formations. When you bring a team together, what do? What's the first thing that happens? That's them coming together. So when you bring a team together, oh boy, can I grab this here? All right, so we're gonna form the team together. So when you bring a team together, they come together, you put them in a room, there's not much communication going on, right? The team is just there. Then when the team gets introduced and they start talking with each other, then they start having disagreements, issues with each other. I don't like your method and your method is no good. And I'm going to agree with you, but I'm going to disagree with you. Storming, all right? So we want to make sure we have those disagreements. Disagreements is good on projects. You remember in the Agile section I was talking about. Now that they have storming, the next thing they're going to do is they have to come to some kind of agreement. They can't keep fighting all the time. So they're going to norm. The next thing they're going to do is they have to go do the work. Now that they've come to agreements, they actually got to go do the work. So they're going to be performing the job, and then they're done, and the team is done. That is the job. And that is the drag and drop. All right. Hopefully you guys had some fun. Those are my 10 questions here for tonight. All right. Hopefully you guys Foreman. Oh yes. You got to remember something about Tuckman's ladder. You don't go straight down. You just stay a lot. Sometimes the team may be in a mode where they're performing the work, and then they go back to storming because they have some disagreements, and then they have to norm again. So yes, you go up and down that ladder. Tips. Yes, I try to help all my students pass their exam. I want you guys to, when you guys pass your exam, please come back and let me know that you guys passed your exam. Put some comments in the videos. Let me know that you guys passed your exam. If you're taking the class on, if you're taking the class on Udemy, leave me a review there. Not a review, a comment that you've taken the test. All right. You guys, what is with YouTube today, man? Is YouTube having some issues today? I was kicked out, not sure what happened. Did it all come back? Yes. It seems like that. Yep, I'm back now. All right. So I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube today. I have a super fast internet. I have a 1 gig internet connection. Test 3. All right, very good. Did I come back yet? Can you guys hear me? Oh, man. Hey, Andrew, if I register for your online course, when do I get access to the material? Then the next couple hours later. If you register for our online course, then you will get access to the training material generally within a few hours. All right. If you register in the night, it's going to take for the next day, but generally in a few hours. Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with YouTube. That's a good question. Do you recommend taking the 10-minute break during the exam? Of course. Yes, take a 10-minute break. You should be taking your 10-minute break. Do not skip the break. Sitting there for extended periods of time will make you fatigue. And when you get fatigued, you're going to try to end the exam quickly. That is not something you want to do. Okay, don't do that. When will their next YouTube session be? Maybe we'll do one again. I think we'll do one again next week. All right, we'll do another 10 questions again next week. So hopefully you guys can join me. Are there more than one instructors? Yes, there are more than one instructors. The TIA, they're all good instructors. All of them are very good. Some of them are better than me. Trust me, they're all as good or better than me. Amit, good question. Is there a difference between the Udemy course and the TIA course? The Udemy course it goes through one of our other companies. It goes through the TIA education group. The Udemy course is good for your 35 hours, but it is not the PMI official courseware. If you want the PMI official courseware with the PMI clone questions, the PMI slides, that you got to go for the live class. All right, that goes through the TIA course. The Udemy course is my course. It's what I made. It's my slides. Goes well with my book. The actual TIA course gives you the PMI stuff. It gives you all of my stuff too, but it gives you all the PMI stuff. All right. Can we go over business analysts in your next week's questions? I'm not sure. Business analyst. I'm not sure that relates to PMP. Are you able to take a look at test 3, question 2? Not right now. I don't have any PDFs on me. Not on this machine. This machine is empty. We'll do, yes. The next session we're going to do, I want to do more fill in the blank. And I'm going to give you guys in the next session a select something on a chart. Because I've seen a few of those already. How can you make sure I'll be the teacher? I don't know. They're all good. Trust me. They're all good. Call a few weeks before and ask. All right, call a few weeks before and ask. All right, any other questions, anybody? Anybody? Now, before I leave you guys for tonight, I want you guys, do you guys find it, are you guys having difficulty studying? Would you guys like for me to review with you guys the best way to study? Like best practices when it comes to studying? Does that sound good? What is the general salary for a PMP in the construction industry? PMPs in the United States, I don't know about any other country, makes over $100,000 a year. So engineering and construction, it should be close to $100,000 a year. You got to remember, by the time you get a PMP, Neil, you're already 3 years experience. So I think that would be helpful. Okay, so you guys maybe we'll do a live session on that in a week, maybe later next week or something. How can we answer? You know what? That's a good question. How can we answer hybrid questions? Should the answer be more towards agile or predictive? Excellent question. The answer is be more servant leadership. Apply the concepts when you are stuck in a situation. On your exam, you must think of which answer is a servant leadership. That video I did last week helped a lot of people. It's a video I showed to our, not just on YouTube, but our TIA students and my Udemy students. And people absolutely love that. The servant leadership thing. And it's something that I mentioned in the book. It's in the videos. But I want people to stay more on it, all right? Study more of it. Study more of those servant leadership, because when you come to a question, agile or predictive, you got to say, well, which one of these is going to be more of a servant leadership answer, because your exam is more agile oriented. When the PMBOK changes, do we expect the question to change as well? So PMI has already stated that the exam is not going to be based on PMBOK. They're trying to move the exam away from PMBOK. So technically, when PMBOK changes, the exam shouldn't. That's the BCM. All right. First of all, the new PMBOK doesn't come out till the end of next month or maybe in the beginning of April. And even when it comes out, it takes a while for PMP, the exam itself, to get updated. You guys should all be certified before then. Are there questions with more than one answer? Yes. If you go back and you watch some of the previous practice questions I did here on the channel, I do have some examples of that. I think in the last live session we did that. You can review that. Business environment, we'll try to throw some of those in. It comes out in May. Is it in May? I thought it was coming out in March 31st. Okay. Then it's coming out later in the year. All right. Should the project manager resolve conflict by not letting the conflict waste time and resources, or wait it out and let the team resolve? The team should be self-organizing. That's a tricky thing. Major conflicts on a project, the best solution comes from the team. You should approach it with a mindset of giving the team the resources they need to solve it. Don't go out and solve problems yourself if you don't have the right guidance, as you may not be the best person to solve a technical problem. So the short answer there, let the team solve it. Especially if it's something technically difficult, because you may not have that knowledge to go out and select something that the team doesn't like. Okay, so some of you guys said yes. Yeah, one of the things that people ask me quite a lot is, how do we study? If there's one thing I know how to do is study well. I have 62 certifications. I've taken over 100 exams. I'll give you guys some tips on how I study. We'll do a study session on that. Okay, Hopefully you guys had a good time tonight. I'll see you guys next. We'll do another session next week Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. I will see you guys next week Tuesday. Join me again. We should monitor on the conflict team and should pitch in, solve in person. I don't even know what that means. We should monitor on the conflict team, else you pitch in. I'm not sure. Somebody's asking me a question. I'm not sure what that means. Not monitor conflict, help solve the conflict. Okay, you guys have a good evening. Well, it's night for me. I don't know where it is for you. You guys have a good day, evening, morning, wherever it is for you. And I'll see you guys same time next week, Tuesday. Yes, if you're doing my e-learning course, you can jump around as much as you like. Just hit that 100%. And I will see you guys next week. Have a good night.